And
Okay.
with this, you could actually interact with the spirits or these beings that you are investigating and see if there's an intelligent response. And doing that actually gives you some credibility that it's not caused from an object that's shaped in like some kind of form that's mapping it out. It rarely happens, but almost never a contamination, especially the way they have them. These Connect sensors are pretty. I mean, this is a freaky kind of thing, you know. When you're in the dark and it's dim, and then this thing starts animating on you, it's not
Oh,
something you
oh,
really
I'm
want to
done.
experience.
I'd walk
So,
out.
a
I'd
trigger
burn
object.
her. I'd burn her. No, I'd be kicking that thing outside the door. I'd be like, bye.
Uh,
I'd be like, no
yeah,
thanks. And I would love to see from, and I think the audience would love to know, what is your piece of advice as far as what does it take? What is it? What is required? What do you need to have? Do you need to have the guts? Do you need to have, um, what would you recommend for people who are aspiring paranormal investigators?
so what I recommend is a lot of knowledge. Look into it. Start studying it. Start studying the phenomenon before going out there. If you just leap out there because of the curiosity, you're gonna get yourself hurt. You're gonna bring something back, and you're gonna just make things worse. Probably end up going from that to investigating in a dark path. And that's how a lot of investigators investigate in the dark path because they didn't really look into it. They just go into it and then they investigate, this wrong path. So it's the knowledge, the awareness. Uh, be a much more alert of your surroundings, metaphysically. Know the signs of demonic infestation versus an earthbound. There are spot differences between the two. You learn that, you want to learn that, and also bring yourself some protection too. So it's good to have some protection, like you have silver crosses. I have a Celtic cross. I have Saint Michael Archangel pendant, a pentagram with Solomon protection seal. Everybody has their symbol they vibrate to. These are the ones
Mm-hmm.
I was most drawn to, as far as like ancient protection, stuff that really is going to protect me from the most heinous and most of a threat to me. And it's been very effective. Definitely get yourself some protection. Learn how to use your protection. There's stuff like Palo Santo, white sage. Um, you could even use the energies of crystals, crystals that give you good protection energy surrounding you, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so how I've always took it is that your knowledge is your sword and your protection is your shield. So, and then that armor comes with your chakras. You want to restore those chakras, learn about your chakras and how to restore those and keep yourself more harder to penetrate. But you always want to remember you are never invincible to these things. There's always going to be something that is going to be more of a challenge for you. So never challenge that. So when I go out there, I always go out there with not of a provocative way, but I am stern. So I'll stand my ground, but I won't provoke. So you want to be pretty stern out there, but don't be like cocky or something like that, or being a
Mm-hmm.
jackass. You just want to be firm with them. Talk to them like they're just another conscious being. Don't talk to them like they're some strange thing. That's a good way to talk. That how I talk to spirits.
Like, spot on, absolutely spot on. I love that. Just the fact of all the information that you just provided is so invaluable. The information, just the fact of, like, talking about being protected, being guarded, knowing what works for you, knowing what you vibrate with as far as what you feel will help you and alleviate the tensions and the anxiety, and also build that self-confidence, but also without being egotistical about it, and I think that's super important. What I like about that too is that you're open-minded to all those aspects, crystals, sage, or Palo Santo, or even prayer to some extent to what you believe in, I think is super powerful because I think that when we can have all of those available to us, we only strengthen our protection abilities more. That actually aligns with the other question that I have. What are the dangers that you think would entail when being a paranormal investigator? What do you think are what are the risks of going into this kind of a line of work or even as a hobby? What are the things that you've witnessed firsthand with your own experiences or with other people? And how do you resolve those situations? What would you recommend?
Basically, what I've seen and witnessed and seen based off like other people that seen like on social media and YouTube, all that stuff, looking at it in the full spectrum of the primary problem that people make a mistake with not knowing what they're doing when they go out is they they don't understand that just because you don't see what you're investigating doesn't mean that it's not going to come home with you. And that's a
Mhm.
real big problem. Not just that, but curses as well. You mess around cursed items or cursed lands, then you start to be a part of that energetic field. And now you've got that energetic cord aligned with that curse or even an entity. An entity doesn't have to physically be there to manipulate your energy or to cause chaos in your life. You just have to have that energetic cord for it to just start really feeding you some nasty stuff like nightmares and all that kind of stuff. When it comes to this kind of field, you're dealing with the unknown, and the more you don't know and you're dealing with, the more you don't know what you're going to get. So the more awareness of what you're getting into with this, the more you're going to expect and how to deal with it. Does that make sense? I said that
Absolutely.
so kind
What kind of entity experiences have you had? What type of spirits have you
of. Oh,
encountered
mhm.
thus far?
If as far as investigating, I've experienced being drug out of my bed, in a dream, not physically, but I've had a
I was
911
like,
rung out of my bed.
"Oh my god."
Yeah, that would be
That's
pretty
so weird
interesting.
that you say that because my bed started making a sound as
Mm,
if it was moving, like
really?
creaking. Yeah, and I'm like, "Okay." I just heard that. I'm like, "No, we're
So,
not doing no next Netflix and chill." It's not happening, whatever it is.
hmm
That's
yeah,
funny. Anyway, all respect though.
I got drug out of the bed in this dream, and when I was drug out of the bed, it was such a strong pull. I could feel the carpet on my back just burning my back, like because I was being drugged so hard and
Oh,
aggressively.
wow.
And when I came to, like, realize where I was in my living room, and what was sitting on my couch in front of me was one of my dolls. In fact, is one of the dolls that we're gonna have on camera in the next segment. So that was who was sitting on my couch.
Oh,
And
wow.
when that I saw that,
God.
I heard this gurgling growl building up, and then when I put my hands up on the ground, then it went like that, and then I woke up. It was like
Oh
this
my
wolf,
god.
like kind of
Oof.
like growling wolf type, really loud, and you could just feel it in your insides, just kind of rumble. It was really bizarre. So I've had encounters like that. I've had encounters where I was getting into my studies because I keep all my books over here by my objects down here, and I have this
Mhm.
here. I'll just show it. I might as well. So this mannequin head right here, it's got real human hair, by the way. It started animating
Ooh.
in front of me. So the eyes were moving, going back and forth like that. The nose was moving, the mouth was moving, but no words were coming out. And I was seeing it, and as that was happening, I was just kind of ignoring it and just like, okay, good. I see you're trying to get a rise out of me. So I still was grabbing my books and went back in there. And then I came back out here to put my book away, and I get my shirt tugged from the back. like they're trying to get my attention. I don't know if there's something really haunting this item. Based off my research, it could be haunted, don't get me wrong. Based
Yeah.
off my research, um, especially with Pam, with objects like that type of object, it they can manipulate other objects to cause fear from you. So they'll try to hop into another item and use that item because, I mean, this is a freaky kind of thing, you know, when you're in the dark and it's dim and then this thing starts animating on you, it's not
Oh,
something you
oh,
really
I'm
want
done.
to experience.
I had to
So,
walk out. That freaked me
so,
out.
um,
Oh,
so yeah,
mm-mm.
technically
Uh,
I originally was gifted that item, and I was gonna use it
uh,
as a
I'd
trigger
burn
object.
her. Burn her. No, I'd be kicking that thing outside the door. I'd be like, bye.
Yeah,
Be like, no
yeah,
thanks.
is one of those experiences that you would think would be in a dream, but no, that actually happened in real time.
Oh my
And I
god.
was just grabbing
Oh,
the book,
wow.
and then right off the back, I came back to put my studies back, the book I was reading, and I get my shirt tugged. So it's so crazy. What
I'm
all
so intrigued by what you've experienced. That is fascinating because it's weird that you say your shirt tugged because a few days ago I was walking and then I was standing in front of my window. There was
Mhm.
nothing behind me. And every once in a while our cat, he'll stand like on this on his I call it his cat post or whatever. Yeah, and he'll sometimes like, throw his paw at me or whatever cuz he's being kinky, I guess. I don't know, but he's being funny. And then but he wasn't there and all of a sudden I feel a tug near my ass, near my shirt and my ass. And I was like, "What the heck?" And I turn around, but no Fluffy, no cat, no one. And that wasn't near anything that could have caught my shirt. And I felt a tug like near the back of my hip, as if like on my pant, but on my shirt. It was like near that.
Yeah.
And I just thought, okay, that's a little weird. And that was actually about a day or so right after we agreed to do this. And I didn't tell you that. So that's kind of interesting. When you were starting out paranormal investigations, which paranormal investigation or item or device would you say is the most memorable that really sticks out to you the most? That really made you go, "Oh my god, this is something real."
I mean, I have a lot that I could choose from, but if I were to pick one right now, right off the bat, which would be pretty easy for me to, would be when I was using my SLS camera on Pam live and had full on interaction intelligently with Pam on the SLS camera. SLS camera is a structured light sensor camera, and what its purpose is it uses a Kinect sensor to be able to map out these beings that are in front of that sensor. So once they hit that sensor, that Kinect sensor, it's able to map them out in a stick figure formation, like connecting the dots. So it connects
Oh,
the dots
yeah.
of how they're shaped. And
Okay.
with this, you could actually interact with the spirits or these beings that you are investigating and see if there's an intelligent response. And doing that actually gives you some credibility that it's not caused from an object that's shaped in like some kind of form that's mapping it out. It rarely happens, but almost never a contamination, especially the way they have them. These Kinect sensors are pretty intelligent when it comes to mapping things out correctly. I'm not gonna say every SLS camera is as accurate as the next because I know they have like phone apps that do it. I don't really use that kind of stuff. I actually use other stuff that's actually built for this type of phenomenon. So I had one customly made and built to be able to make sure that I had nothing to contaminate what I'm doing. And I actually had an entity map out in one of my most dangerous objects, Pam. It was live. It was the second time I ever did a live segment, and it was also the second time I had Pam the doll live. It was really interesting. It was this exact spot. The entity pops up on the screen right on the doll, like mapping a figure that matches the size of the doll in the doll. And it's kind of dancing around in there. And then I had this grid. I was trying to tell people how effective these barriers are to keep my objects grounded and protected. And I was trying to make this point, and then the doll disappears, but then would reappear, and you could see it's trying to stretch its arms and stretch its legs past the barrier I created, and it's having a hard time getting past it. But what it was trying to reach for was this. This is an EM pump. It generates electromagnetic energy. So this is like a source for it to manifest and do whatever it wants to do more easier. It was trying to reach for
Oh,
this. I figured that out. I
wow.
was like, what is it reaching for? What like, and it was this box. And so when it's activated, it shows this. That's how I knew is when I saw that green light on the normal spectrum camera. I was like, okay, so it was reaching for that. And sure enough, it was able to finally reach it, and then it started crawling up on the walls. On the SLS cameras, crawling on the walls by the EM pump, and it floated there for a moment. And I said, Pam, uh, can you get back to the doll, please? I need you back in the doll. And then eventually it listened and it went back, it disappeared and it appeared right back into Pam and then disappeared. It was crazy. So
Wow.
it listened to me to do that. Like as it being an owner, I think there was a mutual respect that, okay, I'll go back. So I didn't
Wow.
provoke it or anything.
What is interesting about that is that it's almost like because you've respected the doll is mutually respecting you to at least the most degree to some extent. What do you feel about psychic mediums being a part of the paranormal in the paranormal investigations? Do you think they bring value to paranormal investigations? Do you think that that they bring any type of knowledge or wisdom or even just exploration of the unknown? Because some people are very strict about not having them in their paranormal investigations, and some people do, but I'm wondering what your take is on it and your experience about that.
Yeah, I think that psychic mediums are a huge aspect in the paranormal because they have abilities to be able to communicate and establish what's happening metaphysically and psychically. They some mediums will be able to, because I know that with different spiritual mediums have different types of mediumships of what type of growth that they have with their abilities, and because I've met several different types of spiritual mediums, and some people think that all spiritual mediums they are all the same, but they're not. It's just not how it works. That's probably why I know so many. But
Yeah.
so
Mhm.
so, anyways, the with spiritual mediums on the scene on an investigation is very helpful. I'm sorry, but my lighting's getting kind of messed up. Do you see that?
Okay, mine was doing it earlier the same way, and I thought it was my fan, so I turned the fan off, but mine was flickering like crazy earlier too.
Okay, it
And my
stopped.
bathroom light keeps flickering over and over.
It just stopped.
That's so weird.
Okay.
It's almost like acknowledging
Like, look at
that.
I'm moving around. It's not doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like that you acknowledge that too because there are a lot of people in the paranormal investigation see, I'm already fucking up my words.
That's
This
rough.
thing makes me make up so many different words that don't exist and I'm like, what the hell? That's not a word. And I've
Yeah,
been blending words together over and over and I almost sound drunk and I'm not. I'm totally sober and it's weird my words and I end up sounding super belligerent and I'm like, what the heck?
yeah.
That's not how I
Hey, look at the
talk.
light. The light's doing it again.
Yeah, that is very weird. Um, do you
Adjust
think
this
that's
one.
a communication almost like SOS? Is that almost like a communication? You know what I mean? Like light
Like a
communication?
signal. Yeah,
Yeah. You think
yes,
that could
that's what it
be?
kind of seems like. Maybe it's very
Um,
interesting.
that is very interesting. Has that
I'm
happened
so
before when you were on StreamYard before? Has that
it's
happened?
happened. It's happened before, but like, see, like it'll do this, but when I'm not moving, it shouldn't do that at all. And I was not
Yeah.
even moving, and it was doing it. And before, it's never done that like so extensively. It has before, where when I was on a live before, it almost like blinded me white on the screen. Like my whole screen like almost went white one time, and I wasn't even moving, and I don't know why. I never did that in the past. I paid a lot of money for this light, and it's just it shouldn't be doing this. So, but when I do this, it's not affecting the light. It's affecting the lighting on here. and it's just
Yeah.
weird. I don't know why it's doing that. I've even asked other people that I collabed with, and they've never seen that happen before either.
Yeah, and the same thing was happening to me nonstop before I added you,
Yeah.
and it kept flickering over and over and over, and I thought, "Okay, maybe it's from my fan," so I turned the fan off, thinking maybe that was affecting the lighting or the wavelengths or something, and
Mhm.
then the weird thing is, I noticed that you and I earlier, when we were talking, I was still on here because I was
Mhm.
making sure this was all working. While we were talking, and I of course, I can't validate this right now, but it's interesting that you're having this experience right now because and I had you on speakerphone, but it was flickering to your voice, to your vibration of your voice
Oh,
on my
wow.
screen. It was really
Wow.
weird, and I was like, "That's really weird. Why is that connected?" And I'm sitting here thinking as a conspiracy theorist, they're tapping in, like, I don't know what's going on.